How's it going, Laser Bruce's up, Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Abyss of the Sacrifice. We are actually back here, even though we've done the true ending, because Miracle Moon, the creator of the Birth Me Code and Head As Code series, said that we need to experience Zero, the chapter 0, as a fail. Because it delves into the story a bit deeper, and it's something that you really need to see to help put it all together. So we're going to check this one out and see how differently Zero is going to be in a failed thing. So I ran through Jitka's thing, but didn't do all the right things beforehand to get to Zero. So we're just jumping in. We know it's going to fail. He's fine. It all started in a place much like a graveyard. It was dark and quiet. Several coffins were lined up in a row, but it wasn't completely silent. A slight mechanical whir incessantly echoed throughout the area, which distinguished it from your regular graveyard. But in a sense, it was still a graveyard, because it was a place where people were put into eternal cold sleep. Step, step. A single person's footsteps echoed on the hard floor. Someone was walking among the rows of coffin-like cold sleep machines. It was a woman. Deep, dark eyes rested in her mask-like expressionless face, but her eyes were not cold. In fact, they seemed to be bursting with fire so hot that no one would dare to touch them. Suddenly her footsteps stopped. "I finally found you." She spoke to one of the cold sleep machines. Ice crystals formed in the shape of a flower on the machine's glass, and beyond the glass was the faint figure of a girl with her eyes closed. The girl was frozen. For years her time had naturally been stopped. The woman ran her fingers along the coffin's plate. Jitka. That was the girl's name. The woman reached out to the control panel on the side of the machine. Once the lid was flung open, the woman could see the girl's entire figure. Her eyes were still closed in a dreamless sleep. This girl is probably better off not dreaming. But the woman was here to awaken the girl. She began to do what she came for. She touched a small machine in her hand to the girl's neck. Suddenly the girl's frozen, pale skin started gradually regaining some of its pink hue. It's cold. The first sensation the girl felt was cold. Then she felt calm. That's strange, my mind feels really quiet. Usually when I wake up, I feel like I'm in pieces, or... Suddenly she knew why. It's because I didn't dream. She realized that she'd been in a cold sleep. When I'm in cold sleep, I don't have any dreams. The doctor told me that I wouldn't have nightmares or headaches, and I wouldn't encounter any more scary things. That's how he convinced me to do this. What's going on? I feel very cold. I'm not supposed to feel anything in cold sleep. Suddenly she heard a quiet voice in what was supposed to be a silent slumber. "You must be Jitka. Who are you?" Instead of a reply, the woman asked a question. "Do you want to get out of here?" Jitka thought to herself before answering. "Not really. There isn't anything good outside of this place." "Oh? And I'll have nightmares again. Besides, the doctors do bad things to me when I'm awake." "What do they do to you?" "They give me shots and medicine." She let out an exhausted and resigned sigh. "But I think the doctors are trying to make me have dreams." "Even the bad ones?" "Yes." "I see." The woman fell silent. Understanding the silence as kindness, Jitka started to like the owner of the voice she was hearing. I wonder who she is and what she looks like. Although Jitka wanted to take a peek, she assumed it would be impossible to open her eyes. My whole body is supposed to be frozen after all. But to her surprise, her eyes did open without much effort. "You have awakened." The woman stood there. She was like a shadow. Then she took off her hood. Her flowing hair, dark eyes, and pale skin in the dim light appeared somewhat surreal. "Did I wake up?" "Yes." "But why? The doctor said I didn't have to wake up anymore. He said I'd be frozen forever." "Did you not want to wake up?" "No, I didn't." "Because of the nightmares?" "That's right." She suddenly had a flashback to all of the nightmares that had tortured her so far. Scary, distressing, painful, sad, lonely, cold. They all only filled her with negative emotions. It was nothing but pain. "I don't want to feel that way anymore. But if I'm awake now, that means I'll have another dream soon." "No, I don't want any more scary dreams. I have to freeze myself again." But as soon as fear overwhelmed her, it started again. Uh-oh. Her body felt heavy and numb, and her listless eyelids gradually began to close. Her consciousness started to fade, and a white fog took over. "No, my dreams are starting. I'm dreaming again. Where am I?" These thoughts passed through her foggy mind. First came light, a flight floating sensation, then after a while, she felt her body sway as she as her feet walked across the hard floor. A fog around her gradually cleared. And Jitka looked around. Oh no! Her heart sank. I know this place. This is the dream I had before I was put into cold sleep. Bad things happen here. It was a huge factory zone filled with machines and twisting pipes. A shrill alarm blared throughout the bleak landscape. From time to time a person's voice would interrupt the sound. All personnel must leave immediately. Evacuate the premises. I repeat, all personnel must leave immediately. Evacuate the... The quick, desperate voice filled Jitka with fear. I'm scared. Her body began to tremble. It's exactly the same as my earlier dream. I want to get out of here. She spun around in the direction that she came from. To her surprise, someone was there. You! It was a woman she'd met before. She hadn't been in this dream last time. The woman looked around and murmured, Where are we? I see. This is the site of the accident 5 years ago. The inexplicable radiation leak at the high-level energy core. She fixed her strong gaze directly on Jitka. Is this your dream? Yes. While nodding, Jitka felt a little confused. Why was this person in her dream? Why her? When even the doctor had never shown up in a dream before. Interesting. So you did cause this incident? Huh? Now I understand why the Administration Bureau put an end to the project. They finally realized that Icon couldn't be controlled. The woman seemed to be talking to herself as well as to Jitka, but Jitka didn't understand. What? What are you talking about? The woman gazed at Jitka's puzzled face. A slight sense of pity came over her, for she knew. She had laid low for a few years, while investigating Foundation's most classified information. It was then that she discovered Jitka, the modern-day Icon with the power to rewrite the world. This girl was a rare individual with special brainwaves, as well as the hospital's guinea pig. When they found her, the Administration Bureau decided to use her for their own purposes. Long ago, when people still dreamed of the surface, and wished to reclaim it as their own, someone with the ability to rewrite the world was born. Calling her by the name Icon, the people put all of their hopes on her, but in the end she failed, and those exact same people locked her away. Humankind gave up on rising to the surface and eventually forgot all about Icon. A few centuries passed. The current government administration rediscovered the existence of the being who could rewrite the world. This was the Administration Bureau. They had no interest in the surface. They were simply drawn to the immense power of rewriting the world. Their goal became to create the next Icon. This was Jitka, the unique child with special brainwaves. Per the Administration Bureau's instructions, Jitka was taken to the hospital. There she was given all sorts of medical enhancements. As a result, she gained not only the ability to warp the current time-space, but also the ability to rewrite the events of the past. That was the gist of the hospital's current venture, Project Icon. At first glance, this project seemed to be headed for success, but then the accident happened. During an experiment, Jitka accidentally broke through the barrier to the high-level energy core. The core went critical, many died, and the energy core block was sealed permanently. The Administration Bureau had no choice but to end the project. The hospital director was ordered to put Jitka into an indefinite cold sleep. Now that cold sleep had been broken, what is your desire? The woman asked Jitka. My desire? Yes, what is something you wish for, from the bottom of your heart? Something I wish for? She thought for a minute before whispering, I want you to freeze me again. Why? Don't you want to be free? I don't want to be scared anymore. In cold sleep, I won't feel anything scary or painful ever again. Are you saying you want to rot away in your sleep? Isn't that even scarier? Rot in my sleep? Jitka had never thought of it that way before. Now that the woman mentioned it, it did seem pretty scary. The woman took Jitka's silence as a chance to speak. There is no one in this block to restrict you anymore. This research district has been sealed off. The doctors who bullied you will never come back. What? Everyone is gone. That includes the staff in charge of your experiments, and the man you call Doctor. Really? Yes. Tears welled up in Jitka's eyes. What's wrong? Why are you crying? Because... is the doctor really gone too? What? Did he abandon me? The woman stared at Jitka's crying. This is worse than she thought. Even though this girl is terrified of her doctor, she's also completely dependent on him. At this rate, she will never be free. She will only ever act in the interest of what the doctor has imprinted on her. If she does not wish for freedom, the surface will never reappear. The woman would first have to free Jitka's heart. Jitka, no one is holding you captive anymore. You can go anywhere and do anything you want. Like what? You can see beautiful landscapes and doze off in comfortable places. You can do any fun things and even live in happiness. Beautiful landscapes? Fun things? But Jitka only hung her head in tears. She never experienced the things that the woman spoke of. The hospital had taken her before she could even remember. She had no family or friends to speak of. Every day for her had just been a chain of constant experiments. Her life itself had been like one big nightmare. Jitka, you can wake up from your nightmare now. Huh? Am I dreaming right now? The woman asked a question in place of an answer. Do you know what the surface is? The surface? She thought for a second before shaking her head. No. The woman began to sing. Blossoming with foliage green and canvas where skies are blue. Here one's lungs filled with air pristine while basking in the sun's warm view. At times the winds waft sweet smells of cane and caress the passing cheek. At others heavens impart the gift of rain and fill the bubbling creek. That's what the surface is like. Jitka was stunned for a second but cocked her head and asked, is it different from heaven? A little bit. A slight smile spread across the woman's lips. Jitka thought to herself, how could this woman have such a cold face and still look so kind? Heaven is an intangible place where people go when they die. The surface is a place where humans are supposed to live. I don't get it. Well, it's a little hard to explain with just words. The woman moved closer to Jitka. Let me give you a picture. She held a medical scanner in her hand. Suddenly Jitka's expression stiffened. No. What's wrong? Don't be scared. I'm just going to download an image into your synapse nanomachines. No. That's a scary machine. The scanner in the woman's hand was the same scanner the doctors used on Jitka when conducting experiments. Her intense rejection tested the woman's patience. Well, this is a problem. The mere sight of a medical tool revives serious trauma. I didn't take this into account. I feel sorry for her, but I can't back down now. Listen to me, Jitka. This will help all your bad dreams go away. No. You must open the door to paradise. You're the only one who can. I don't want any more experiments. This isn't an experiment, Jitka. The woman held down Jitka's flailing arms and pressed the scanner to her neck. Just as she pressed the scanner button. No, everyone is scary. Everyone should just disappear. Jitka screamed. Suddenly the scenery began to warp, and then... I guess this is the bit that's going to change? Everything turned pure white. Jitka jolted awake. Where am I? The next thing she knew, she was in a small room. Several computers were lined up in front of her. The hospital and the research wing had similar rooms, but they were somehow different from this one. That still didn't change the fact that she had no idea where she was. The doctor will be mad at me for entering a strange room. Even though this is a dream, to Jitka, dreams weren't much different from reality. When she was moved into the children's room in the research wing, the doctor warned her many times, you are not allowed to leave this room, Jitka, even in your dreams. Jitka trembled. I disobeyed him again. He'll be so mad if he finds out. That woman from earlier, she said doctor won't come back anymore. But I know that's a lie. If he finds out I woke up from cold sleep and I'm dreaming again, he'll probably come and give me a scolding. Then I'll be given lots of shots again, and have lots of scary dreams. No, I don't want that. I've had enough of scary dreams. Suddenly she remembered what the woman had told her earlier. Jitka, no one is holding you captive anymore. You can go anywhere and do anything that you want. She gasped. I have to get out of here. She had to wake up from this dream and escape the ice machine. Then she could run away to a place where the doctors couldn't find her. Yes, she had to leave now. What is this place? The woman who once went by Orange and now is called Chloe pushed herself up from the floor. She found herself in a small room. A line of computers was in front of her. Is this reality? No, it's another of Jitka's dreams. Chloe had a pretty good idea of what was happening. Jitka had been triggered by a traumatic event. Then Chloe was caught up in Jitka's dream. What an interesting experience. She ran her fingers across one of the computers. Although this was a dream, her sense of touch and the computer's details were identical to reality. She tried turning on the computers and fiddling around with it. The date was 2 days prior to the day that she'd woken Jitka from cold sleep. She tried some difficult calculations, but they all came out accurate. It's very realistic. Which means this girl's dreams, more or less, allow her to temporarily move through another reality's time-space. Seeing her ability to rewrite the world with her own eyes made Chloe even more certain. Now I'm sure this girl can regenerate the surface and open the door to paradise. She will help humankind recover their place on the surface. I just have to safely transfer the surface's image data to her brain. Although a little worried, she felt her plan falling back into place. She should be able to return to where she was before, once Jitka woke up. Then she would guide Jitka, so that she too wanted to go to the surface. Only then could Jitka fulfill her role as the one with black wings, and lead Chloe to the promised door. I just have to wait for her to awaken. She began to investigate the room again. It was a bleak room, but it seemed to be a lived-in space. It's probably someone's personal room. But that person has to be a tech maniac to own this many computers. I'm almost positive that they're a hacker. Chloe smiled wryly as she remembered a certain someone. Huh? Suddenly she noticed something next to the computer. A headset. Is this what the hacker uses? She suddenly had a hunch. So she pressed a few keys and brought up the login screen. Priest. Her hunch was spot on. The group of computers belonged to Priest. Is this her room? What a strange coincidence. No, it was too perfect to be a coincidence that she'd stumbled upon both Priest and Jitka. Are they connected somehow? According to her investigations through classified materials, Jitka was able to synchronize with people in close connection or proximity to herself, and generate dreams about them. However, Priest was nowhere near them now, and Chloe could not think of any other connection. Was Jitka affected by my psyche? Although everything was going according to plan, Chloe had one regret. That regret was Priest. I was the one who recruited the young hacker into the organization, but soon afterward my belief in the organization's ideology started to waver. And the moment I decided to alienate myself from the organization and begin my own secret plans, Priest began to devote herself more to the organization every day. And it didn't help that the organization wasn't keen on letting her go. That's why I took myself out of Priest's life. I ended up abandoning her, even though she practically worshipped me. Did Jitka sense those feelings in my heart and reflect them in her dream? I'm not sure, but I've never seen Priest's room before. How was Jitka able to come here in a dream? Just as Chloe pondered over unanswerable questions, the scenery lurched. Her vision began to warp. Uh-oh. This is the same thing that happened at the beginning of the dream. Is Jitka about to wake up? She wanted to investigate Priest's room a bit more. Suddenly she thought of something. She took a book out of her bag. It was an old medical book from the hospital, but she'd planned to read later. She opened to a random page and scribbled a code in the bottom corner. Then she gently placed the book next to Priest's computer terminal. If Jitka truly had the ability to rewrite reality, Priest might just see it. Come after me, Priest. If you truly wish to reach the surface, come after me. The shaking became increasingly strong and dizzying. Then Chloe was overcome with a floating sensation, as if the floor was ripped away. Jitka was waking up. When she came to, she found herself standing in front of Jitka's cold sleep capsule. Jitka had come out of her dream, but she was nowhere in sight. The machine's lid was wide open, and the only traces of her presence were left behind. She got away. The strangeness didn't stop there. An alarm was blaring through the room. A disquieting message flew across the information board. The Administration Bureau has announced an emergency situation. All citizens must follow emergency procedures. Soon enough she felt tremors below her feet. An earthquake. What is going on? She flew out of the room. As soon as she found a computer terminal, she forced her way inside. Then she forcibly and illegally logged into the Administration Bureau server. In other words, she began to hack. That's strange. In a rare moment, she began to panic. Up until this point, she'd been around a lot of places, but even in this high-security research block, she had not run into anyone. There was not a single person in sight, and now an alarm was blaring, and small tremors kept hitting the area. Yet the system she'd forced her way into was strangely, completely stable. At first, she thought the research block had been temporarily closed off for some reason. What's happening? But then she searched the Administration Bureau, hospital, police and fire departments, the transportation department, and even public business and individual networks. She searched every server she could think of, yet she could not find a single digital presence or phone line being used. In other words, no one but Chloe was on the Foundation's entire network. How could this happen with Foundation's huge population, and with the emergency alarms blaring? The alarms just started a few minutes ago. Could Foundation's entire population have already evacuated? Impossible. Chloe whispered to herself. Since the surface was currently out of the question, Foundation only had a separated underground evacuation space for emergencies. The only connection to that space was the tube linear that departed from the highest station. It lacked capacity for all of Foundation citizens to evacuate in so little time. In other words, not a single citizen evacuated? Chloe had a theory. It was a bit eccentric, but when she connected it to everything that she knew, it was the only answer she could come up with. It was Jitka. Jitka rewrote the world. She thought back to the last words Jitka had screamed. No, everyone is scary. Everyone should just disappear. All of this must have happened in that moment. Jitka rewrote time-space and her wish was granted. Everyone really disappeared. What amazing power. Just the thought of it made Chloe dizzy. She caught herself on a nearby wall. I was spared since I was caught up in Jitka's dream, but everyone else in Foundation disappeared. In fact, Foundation itself is probably on the verge of disappearing as well. These constant earthquakes are proof of that. This is a disaster without precedence in the entire history of Foundation. And it's happening now. Jitka must have wished for this entire facility to disappear. There's nothing failed about her. She's the real deal, Chloe murmured. The Administration Bureau's conclusion about the Icon Project was wrong. Jitka had become the true Icon. Chloe felt a hot trembling inside of her. She could do it. This skill can definitely regenerate the surface. The legends will be completed. She got to her feet. I must do what I can. I have to search for the forgotten path to the surface that our ancestors created long ago. Then I must find Jitka again. Next time she will lead me with her wings. Suddenly a blinking light appeared in the corner of her eye. A notification appeared on the computer screen. It was an alert to tell her that someone else had accessed the Administration Bureau server. She checked the ID. Priest. Chloe quickly hid her own ID and online presence. Then she began tailing the new prisoners to make sure it was really Priest. Priest's ID did the same thing Chloe had just done. It went around the Administration Bureau and all of its related department servers, as well as all of the public servers. She was clearly panicking about the fact that there were no online presences. Her speed was amazing. I know these techniques, it's definitely Priest. She didn't disappear. While wondering if it was a coincidence, Chloe also felt somewhat relieved. The power of your bad luck is no joke, Priest. She remembered the guidepost she had left for Priest. In Jitka's dream, she had faith in Priest. I'm sure she will know what it means when she finds it. Were my actions the work of fate? The thought suddenly passed through her mind. In which case, it's not bad luck. In fact, maybe you truly were the one chosen by the one with black wings. Chloe logged out and quickly turned off the computer. Come after me, Priest. I will search for the path to the surface in my own way, so follow my lead. When the time comes, I will call you, Chloe. Jitka was confused when she suddenly awoke. The numbers on her forearm had decreased again. They reached 13. Only 13 more times? When did that happen? She was overcome by an alarming fear. Lately she felt groggy for some reason and dozed off a lot. She has been having a lot of dreams each time. Is that why the numbers decreased so fast? She couldn't be sure right now. It was already too much for her to think about, the numbers dropping to 0. She gradually began to tremble violently with fear. What should I do? What should I do? But the more she panicked, the sleepier she became. As soon as her emotions peaked, her power to warp time-space appeared from her strongest brainwaves. In order to use this special power, the doctors conditioned her to trigger it whenever she was in panic. But Jitka was not aware of that. No, I can't sleep anymore. Trembling in fear, she desperately tried to call out. But this just had the opposite effect. Her vision warped and her eyelids drooped. Then she was overcome by the floating sensation that signaled the start of a dream. Is this a dream? Or is it reality? Several scenes flashed before her eyes. She experienced many colours, sounds, smells and emotions in quick succession. Meanwhile, she could sense the numbers on her arm getting even fewer. 12, 11, 10, 9. No, stop, I can't have any more dreams. Stop it, numbers. Fear took over her heart. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Someone help me. Jitka? Suddenly, a familiar voice woke her up. When she opened her eyes, she saw a woman standing in front of her. I know this woman. She tried to remember who it was in her foggy, half-asleep mind, but it was no use. Who are you? I'm Chloe. Jitka frowned at her suspiciously. No, this is not Chloe. The Chloe I know is blonde and smart. This isn't her. The woman spoke. What's wrong? Are you crying? Jitka suddenly noticed the tears on her cheeks. I couldn't help it, I was scared. Because of the numbers on my arm. She secretly peeked at her forearm in a way that the woman couldn't see. They read 001. Oh no. Only one more dream left. Jitka gazed listlessly at the woman. Her mind was blank. As if she'd become desensitized, the relentless fear didn't come back. Since Jitka was silent, the woman spoke softly. Does it hurt? Or are you just angry? Jitka shook her head. Neither. I don't really know. The woman continued. Never mind. You don't have to think about that anymore. Why not? Get out of this place, Jitka. You mean out of the dream? Yes, you're trapped in a chain of nightmares. And how do I get out? It's a piece of cake for someone like you. Piece of cake? The woman smiled. Remember what I told you before? Her smile was more kind and dazzling than anything Jitka had ever seen. She explained in a soft voice, "The surface is the key. Dream of the surface." Dream of the surface? As soon as she heard this, a heat spread through Jitka's entire body. That's right, these words. These are the words I've been waiting for. Blossoming with foliage green and canvas by skies of blue. Here, one's lungs filled with air pristine while basking in the sun's warm view. The woman's voice reverberated quietly. Then, a new vision spread before Jitka. Where am I? A gentle wind caressed her cheeks as she opened her eyes. It's so high and so big, and so beautifully blue. I feel warm. I can smell dirt, and I feel soft grass under my back. What is this place? She never awoken so comfortably. Was this what the woman called the surface? Is it really this nice of a place? She gently sat up. Oh. A gasp escaped her lips. No, these are my memories. It's a park. The sky is an artificial picture that turns crimson in the evening. I came here when I was very small, before I was taken to the hospital. She desperately tried to remember. Not many memories were left from that time. The scenery was the only one still living somewhere in a corner of her mind. Someone had brought her here when she was younger. Back then, nothing was scary, and everything filled her with excitement. That was because she was not alone. Someone who always gave her peace of mind was by her side. That person was... Mum? Jitka smiled. She had no memory of her mother's face or voice, but the brief glimpse of her presence made her feel comforted for the first time in her life. A smile spread across her face as she whispered, "This isn't the surface, fake Chloe." It was the sole place she could escape from the nightmares, and her only clear memory from her childhood. This park is my place. Ooh, I feel sleepy. Feeling a little tired, she let out a brief yawn. That's strange. I'm not supposed to feel sleepy in a dream. Suddenly she thought to herself, maybe this isn't a dream. Maybe I've just finally woken up from a long nightmare. Thank goodness. She slowly closed her eyes. Jitka was sprawled out on the cold, hard floor. Her breathing had stopped, and her body was even colder than the floor beneath her. The numbers on her forearm had reached 0. Someone ran over to the corpse. Jitka? No matter how frantically she called Jitka's name, Jitka would never respond again. Chloe quietly stood alone in the rising elevator. I met the one with black wings, and had her regenerate the surface. The door is unlocked. Now all I have to do is open it. As Chloe. Blossoming with foliage green and canvas by skies of blue, here one's lungs filled with air pristine while basking in the sun's warm view. Humankind will finally be released to the surface. Chloe first felt a hot wind and smelled something burning. There was no blue sky or green foliage. The landscape before her consisted of a ravaged earth and a sky on fire. A bright red sphere shimmered threateningly above. Its piercing heat turned everything to ashes. It was the sun becoming a red giant. The scorching air started to burn Chloe's lungs. Why? She wailed in a raspy voice. Jitka, the icon was supposed to regenerate the surface. I thought I completed the image transfer when I last saw her. She fell asleep smiling. Because she was dreaming of the surface's beauty, didn't she? Then why is this happening? No one can live at a place like this. At this rate, humankind will never be released. Something must have gone wrong. Why? This is the last thing Chloe yelled from her burning throat. Whoa, that was intense. She's only that last part was like new, but holy shit. How does that work though? Like, firstly, I don't remember her actually being able to transfer the... Because in the true ending, she wasn't able to transfer the image to her before Chloe died. Orange, I mean. So I don't remember her doing it, but... I mean, this is the Earth that they created this pocket dimension to evade, right? This digital dimension to evade. She's got no frame of reference for it. How did she create this again? And when she reached 0, it killed her. I mean that happened in the true ending as well, but... Oh, I don't know. I'm very confused by all this. Well, thank you anyway, Miracle Moon, for getting us to play that one. That was definitely worth a playthrough as well. Awesome. And that is the end of Abyss of the Sacrifice. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.